Oh, hello, this is Tak Chong from Walk with Tak. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. Now, it is always difficult for most people to eat more vegetable than they would like. And one of the biggest challenge is that there are relatively few vegetables to select from in the US supermarket. Now, when you go to an Asian grocery store, you probably will find there's so many different kinds of vegetables, many of them that you probably have never seen before. And that is what happened to me a lot of time. In this video, I would like to introduce you a Chinese vegetable known as CHOY SUM, which I have had the opportunity to eat a lot of it when I was a child. It was a great vegetable that I really enjoy. And I only able to find them in the Asian grocery store. Now, CHOY SUM is not a completely unfamiliar vegetable. CHOY SUM belongs to a class of vegetable known as cruciferous vegetable. Now, cruciferous vegetable belong to a family of vegetable known as the Brassica. Now, Brassica in the wild is known as a mustard plant. Now, mustard plant has mustard flavor, as the term suggests to. But however, mustard plant is an amazing vegetable because from mustard plant come with all different kinds of vegetables that belong to the cruciferous vegetable family that we are all very familiar with. This including vegetables such as broccoli, cauliflower, kale, cabbage, kohlrabi, Brussels sprout, gailan, CHOY SUM, and many of other vegetables. Now, what does it really mean? You can imagine that the Brassica family vegetable are like dogs. Maybe they're the dogs of the plant world. Is that if you look at dogs, there are many different versions or variety of dogs. And dog is probably one of the most remarkable animal on the planet because if you look at dogs, you can find a dog that is as small as a Chihuahua and as large as a dog as a Saint Bernard. They are tremendous vary in sizes, in shape, in form, in temperament, and this is exactly of all the vegetables that we find in the Brassica family. They are very different and they all have different characteristics. The reason is that because the different type of vegetables in the Brassica family are developed from a different part of the original mustard plant. This is a process commonly known as artificial selection. Just like we breed for dogs, an early farmer will breed for different characteristics of the vegetable. Some come from the flower, some come from the stem, some come from the leaves. All of this were cultivated for human consumption. Artificial selection is the way how living organisms undergo changes. The opposite side of artificial selection is natural selection. Natural selection is the process where biological evolution occurs as proposed by Charles Darwin when he first proposed the idea in his famous book, The Origin of Species. In fact, in this book, he started out by discussing artificial selection and talk about how human can change traits of biological organisms. And this change is due to the selective breeding process. You choose the characteristic that you prefer and you breed them intentionally, and gradually the genetic traits will pass on from generation to generations, and this particular breed of organism will develop this characteristic. Now, the importance of the Brassica family cannot be underestimated because many of the vegetables all over the world are originated from the Brassica family. And the end result is that we have all the variety of vegetables. Now, one advantage of understanding the Brassica family of vegetables is because they have many similar characteristics. So you can cook them in a very similar way. For example, you can cook Brussels sprouts and cabbage in a similar way because they belong to the same family. You can also cook broccoli, gailan, and other similar vegetables in almost identical way. So this is where template-based cooking come in. So when earlier I have shown a video on how to cook gailan, and as you look at the appearance between gailan and CHOY SUM, you can see that they share many similarities. So gailan and CHOY SUM can be cooked in a almost identical way. And this is the power of template-based cooking. By using template-based cooking, you can create many different dishes using a basic template. And once you understand the template, you almost guarantee that even though you might be cooking very different vegetables, but you will have great success. Okay, let's go into the kitchen and see how we're going to cook this dish. Now, cooking this dish, in fact, is very simple. It takes only about 7 to 8 minutes. First of all, I'm going to cook it in my Cucina 14-inch stainless steel wok. I'm going to only use a small amount of cooking oil because you don't need a lot of cooking oil to cook this dish, because the vegetable is not going to stick to the bottom of the wok, as you probably would imagine. The reason we put the oil in it is to raise the temperature so that when the vegetable coats with the oil, the vegetable can go up the temperature over 300 degrees. And at this temperature, you will have the Maillard reaction to create flavor molecules. These flavor molecules is important to the flavor of the vegetables. Now, we cook the vegetable mainly until it starts to reach the texture that we like. CHOY SUM is relatively fibrous, so you need to cook it to soften the fiber so that it would taste sufficiently pleasant. And in fact, the stem of the CHOY SUM, when it cooked properly, it is an amazing flavor and texture. Now, cooking this vegetable by itself usually is what most people would do. However, as I have mentioned earlier, the biggest benefit of cooking in the wok is you can add other type of food ingredients to it. And in this case, I am going to add a mushroom. This mushroom is known as shimeji mushroom, which is very popular in Japanese cooking. This mushroom is very similar to another Japanese mushroom known as inuki mushroom. Now, it turned out that I have actually never used shimeji mushroom before. I have always seen them in the supermarket, particularly in the Asian supermarket. But I said, I don't know how to cook them. And then I realized that through template-based cooking, this mushroom probably is very similar to inuki mushroom. And I have cooked inuki mushroom before. In fact, not too long ago, I cooked a dish, used inuki mushroom with gailan. So I said, I probably can cook it the same way. So I added the shimeji mushroom to the CHOY SUM. In the future, I will talk more about different Japanese mushroom and how to use them. And it turned out to be just perfect. In fact, it just took a few minutes for me to cook them. To bring out the natural flavor of the mushroom as well as the CHOY SUM, I add a small amount of my basic seasoning mix. You can add as much or as little you want. And then I provide a very small amount of oyster sauce to touch up the flavor. And the dish is cooked. Recently somebody asked me, do you need a wok to do stir frying? And the answer, of course, is not. You can use a skillet to do stir frying. But one thing stir frying has advantage is that you can add a lot of food ingredients to the wok and not worry about that things are going to spill out of the wok. And also, it makes the stir frying process much easier. As you notice that when I first add the CHOY SUM to the wok, it occupies lots of space because it is a leafy vegetable and the leaf is going to cook down. Toward the end, I have only a small volume. So go from a large volume to a small volume work much better if you do it in a wok. So here it is. I hope you will give CHOY SUM a try. I think you will enjoy it. Thank you for watching. If you like to adopt my fast cooking system, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. This will help you to make your home cooking as part of your daily routine that is practical, efficient, creative, and fun. Keep on cooking. I will see you tomorrow.